Greetings YouTube and welcome to the next episode of How to Vanguard. In this episode I'm going to be talking about actually something that's come to light now that BT14 Sneak Peek has come and gone, as you can tell by this mat of Omniscience Regalia Minerva, which is the cross ride of the break ride from the trial deck I showed you guys the other day, which is Angelica here. But yeah, well, I couldn't pick up Minerva itself. It's running 55 right now for sneak peek prices, so I wanted that to go down. What I was able to pick up though was a Shield Goddess Aegis, and the reason why I wanted to pick up one of these is this is a new type of card that debuts in BT14 called a Quintet Wall, and that's going to be the subject of this video. Now, what is a Quintet Wall? A Quintet Wall is a new type of Sentinel unit, so you can only run 4 on a deck, much like how you can only run 4 Perfect Guards. And what this thing does is something similar to a Perfect Guard in that you're using it to defend yourself, but it operates quite differently. So, as we know, when your Vanguard is under attack by your opponent's monster, and let's just get my guy out here. So, your opponent's Vanguard is under attack by something like this, like Galaxy Block Cloaker. It's swinging for 11,000. Now, with a Perfect Guard, you call this thing into Guardian Circle, and then you pitch a card from your hand to completely block the attack. Now, with a Quintet Wall, it's a bit different. When your opponent's Vanguard is attacking you, or whatever, you call this thing into the Guardian Circle, counterblast 1, and then you call the top 5 cards of your deck into the Guardian Circle, and add those unit shield power to this thing's own. It's a shield of 0, so it's going to be, yeah, you call your top cards and see if they can block this. So this is 11,000, so if I have 11,000 over, like more than even 5,000 shield, and let's assume that this thing doesn't hit any triggers, so it's just 11,000. So let's call the top 5 cards of our deck into the Guardian Circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I called a grade 1, a 1, a 1, a 0, and a 2. So that's 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 10,000, 5,000. That's 10, 20, 30. So I have a shield total of 30,000. So this guy is not getting through. Even if I broke road this, it's not getting through. Afterwards, all these units go into the drop zone unless something else happens, like, or Genesis, for instance, have a card that lets you move all these in the soul, but these all go into the drop zone. So for one counterblast, you did all that. Sounds great, but again, because you're going off the top of your deck, you might not get that kind of a guard. You might just get a 1, a 1, and because grade 3s have no shield, this is treated as a 0, so you could just hit all grade 3s and end up with nothing to block the attack. That sucks. So the question is, why even bother running these things when a Perfect Guard is a guaranteed block, whereas Quintet Walls you're kind of taking a chance? Well, right now, Quintet Walls honestly are not that amazing, with the exception of Genesis, because of the one grade 1 where you couldn't put everything that you put into the drop zone into your soul. And of course Grand Blue would benefit from having all their shit go into the drop zone, but they don't get their Quintet Wall until BT17 if I am correct. But the reason why Quintet Walls will be very important in the future is because of the Legion mechanic that we will possibly be getting later this year, early next year. And the Legion mechanic is something that makes use of having 4 cards in your drop zone. So a Quintet Wall loads up your drop zone for Legion, allowing you to do that as soon as you get to your grade 3 and your opponent's a grade 3, and then you start doing Legion shenanigans. So in the future, Quintet Walls will be better, but for the time being, I feel Perfect Guards are better, with the exception of, again, Genesis. Like, I'm probably going to go 2-2 in Perfect Guard and Quintet Walls, and then just up this to 3, maybe even 4 by the time that we get into BT16, BT17, because once those sets come out, how we even construct our decks will change considerably. But in the meanwhile, that's just what a perfect Quintet Wall is. I wanted to show you guys this. There's a couple on this set. There's one for Royal Paladin, and I think there's one for Link Joker. No, there's one for Royal Paladin, there's one for Gold Paladin, and then there's this one. Narukami get one in BT16, which will be of help. The one counterblast is something just to make note of. You might not be able to use it, or you might use it and then suddenly find yourself unable to do other stuff. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to show you guys in this one. In the next episode of How to Vanguard, I will finally get around to talking about Legion, what it is, and why it's going to, well, warp the game in a way that we haven't seen in a long time. Well, until then, this is Blue Star 899 jacking out.